We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel, smash the like button, ring the notification bell, share the video if you want to support this college football national independent rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner. That sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Breaking news right off the bat. Live show April 16th. Pete Knuckles on 3. The FBS Oversight has proposed a move to start in the regular season on week 0. The future FBS regular seasons would be standardized to 14 weeks, during which teams could schedule 12 games. But this is the key. This is the key. The season would begin on the Thursday of what is now designated week 0 and end on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. All right. So, It's that end point. It's that end point. On the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And if there is no championship college football, if there is no conference championship games, well, the Army of 24 momentum continues. People are talking about me moving week 1 to week 0. People are talking about canceling the conference championship games. And then we have more discussions today on the playoff of 24 coming from Fox Sports once again. And again, as I've said on X today, like I've said everywhere else, it's time for the Army of 24 not to celebrate. Not to celebrate, but to get greedy. To get greedy. To get greedy. In other words, I was about to say I would not be satisfied with the playoff of 24 teams. I would be. I would be very happy. We would celebrate here. This has been the beachhead of the momentum, of the movement to get to a 24-team playoff. Right here at college football's peak around the corner, but yes, I would be happy. But eventually, to get the most out of it, you're going to have to bring in the AQs. You're going to have to bring in the AQs for each conference, and we'll go into the reasons why once again on this live show. If you want to produce the best non-conference scheduling, if you want 2 bites of the apple playoffs, you got to have AQs. You got to have AQs in the mix. We're going to be talking about all of that. The PATC Spotlight Series continues tonight. We've done the Miami Hurricanes. We've done the USC Trojans. We've done the Boston College Eagles. And tonight, we do the Kentucky Wildcats. Will Stein, new head coach. Look, they're bringing in guys that a lot of people know. And Nick Anderson, which we're not even going to be talking about tonight. The wide receiver from Oklahoma and played a little bit for LSU last year. C.J. Baxter transferred from the Texas Longhorns. 3 years ago, ran for some 600 yards, got injured, played a little bit last year. We're not even going to be talking about him tonight. Well, I just did talk about him. No, we're going to be talking about some Kentucky Wildcats that you might not know of, but you should know of going into 2026, starting with the quarterback, Kenny Minchey. All right. And then we're going to start the program. We are going to introduce a new segment into our live shows this season. I do declare segment. It's not really a segment. It's just going to be at any time. At any point in time, if you want to make a declaration, if you want to make a prediction as a PATC Einstein, you can now do it. And you can either get dock points or you can make points that depending on the results of your I do declare. Let me spend a little bit of time explaining this. This is for you. This is for the PATC Einsteins that every one of you think you truly are. You're taking shots at Greg the Cooler. Well, now this is your time. This is your time to declare what you think is going to happen. Now, here's a good one. Old Dad says, I know I'm sticking my neck out, but I think the Noles will actually win an away game this year. Keep that in mind. Keep that statement in mind. Now, these predictions are going to have a certain valuations placed upon them. Let me go to my X account, and I explain it on my X account, and I'm going to explain it right here, right now. Here it is. It's happening. It is starting today here at college football's peak around the corner. Howard Cosell, I do declare. New segment coming during the CFB PATC live shows. The PATC Einsteins can declare predictions for upcoming college football season during live shows. And we're going to keep a running track and put valuations on all predictions. Get a prediction correct, you gain points. Get it wrong, points get taken away. The valuations are going to be 1 to 5. 5, and I am the judge and jury. I will give the valuations on every prediction. A 5 is you're taking a lot of risk. You're being very, very bold. You're being a little crazy. You're being a little nuts. A 1 is like, I think the Golden Gophers are going to win the Axe over Wisconsin. If you say, I believe Wisconsin's going to win the game against Minnesota, we'll give it a 2 because Minnesota's probably going to be favored. If you declare that the Baylor Bears are going to win the Big 12 championship, we're going to give you a 4. If you declare the Texas Tech Red Raiders are going to win the Big 12 championship, we're going to give you a 1. The riskier, the more bold of the pick, the less points you can gain, but you're going to put a lot of risk because those points you can lose. Now, there are going to be predictions in which I'm not going to be able to take. Florida State winning a road game this year, even though they haven't won a road game in a long time, it's just too easy. So old data would not be able to take that prediction. I would not be able to take that particular prediction. But anything that has at least a 50-50, that's going to be 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to be the judge and jury on that valuation. Now, that's not all. That is not all. Hold on. Let me explain a little bit more. Here. To ensure we do not get overwhelmed with college football predictions from you PATC Einsteins, we need to put a few restrictions on it. Prediction needs to come in form of a super chat, and no, we at Peek Around the Corner, we'll explain where this money is going to. On these particular super chats, we are not going to be... This is not super chats that keep this channel growing and keep the lights on. Prediction needs to come in form of a super chat. At least a 99-cent super chat is fine. Prediction needs to have some level of boldness to the declaration. You can't just say, I believe that the Miami Hurricanes are going to win one football game this year. There's got to be some level of boldness to it. And again, I am the judge and the jury. All I do declare predictions will need to be placed before the start of the first game in week 0. Fat Guy from Minnesota is the jury and judge on all valuations of predictions. PATC will declare, I do declare world champion. Not a regional championship. Not a regional championship. a world championship at the end of the college football championship game. CFB PATC I Do Declare contest will be using societyawards.com to custom design the trophy given out to the PATC winner of the 2026 season. So I'm going to put your name on the trophy. I'm going to ship it out to you. It's going to take a little bit after the season's over at my cost. Okay? We will also use all Super Chat contributions from the PATC Einsteins towards the I Do Declare contest to give to the Special Olympics of Minnesota. So, after every live show, this is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to work. During the live show, if you put a Super Chat out there for this contest, you have to start the Super Chat saying, I do declare, and then put your prediction. At the end of the show, before I turn off all the computers, I'm going to take a picture of all the I do declare contributions. And then at the start of the next live show, I will write down who declared it, what was declared, and the valuation. It's going to have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then I'm going to keep a track. I'm going to have a whole bunch of these pages of I Do Declare, led by Howard Cosell, and then we're going to keep tabs on it. We're going to say that is correct, that is not. And then you're going to be docked points, you're going to gain points. And you might only make one prediction. And you might make 4 points, and who knows if the PATC Einsteins are so horrific at their declared statements, their predictions, you might be the winner. You might be the winner. You can have 30 predictions. There is no limit. You are contributing to the Special Olympics of Minnesota. And again, so we will keep a track on this. And I will write these down. And I will show them from time to time to show you everybody. And your name's going to be right on it. If Morris Simmons does an I Do Declare that Florida State Seminoles are going to win the ACC championship this year, I'm going to give him a 4-point valuation because that's a risky, bold statement. Morris Simmons' name is going to be on it, his declaration is going to be on it, and the points valuation is going to be on it. All right? Does everybody understand? Does everybody understand how this is going to work? Now, the Super Chats that help grow the channel, keep the lights on, those Super Chats, like always, I'm going to get to as fast as I can during the show. The I Do Declare Super Chats, I'm going to get to them, or we'll announce them, but it might not be right at the time that you put it out there. I might wait to a certain segment of the show and say, I do declare, I do declare, I do declare. We'll go through your comments. But I just want to have some fun. I want to hear your voice, your prediction. It's going to a good cause. I think we'll have some fun with it. Some of you are going to be really hot with your predictions. Some of you are going to be miserable, like what I've been through the last 4 years. Some of you are going to hit on the most ridiculous, bold declarations. And it's all going to a good cause. All right? Does everybody understand? It has to come in form of a Super Chat. I will accept this one from the Evil Badger, but going forward, it has to say, I do declare, and then the prediction. So the Evil Badger, The Evil Badger is the first one up. I guarantee the Badgers will win the Axe back this season. I'm not necessarily going to give you a valuation at the time that you put this comment up. The next time, the next live show, I will have it written, Badgers win the Axe, Evil Badger, then this is going to be a valuation of 2 points. But I might not necessarily say it during the live show. Thank you, Evil Badger. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your I do declare. First one up on the board. First one up on the board. Wow. Wow. I just saw OPD Dunn's I do declare. Wow, that's an interesting one. And that's what I love about this. I'm gonna love this more than you guys. Because I'm not involved. I'm not in this competition. Greg the Gold is not involved in this. You guys are involved in this. It's going to be you guys putting your neck out every single day. And then the I do declare statements end. They end right before the kickoff of the first game in week 0. And then I'm going to give you guys a total of all the money that was raised. And then we'll put out I'll put out a check towards Special Olympics of Minnesota. And then I will get some sort of tax deduction. And then I'm going to plow that money into the trophy and the shipping. And I hope you guys all understand this is for a good cause. And this money is not going in. The OPD Dunn is going in. It's obviously going into my account at this point. But eventually we're going to have a running total of all the amounts. You guys understand. Hopefully you understand. But OPD Dunn, we'll get to that in a moment. Man, is that an interesting one. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. We'll get to it, OPD Dunn. I don't know what to think about that. And I don't know what valuation to put on that. I'm going to give it a decent number because of the creativity of this. Joshino, my goodness. Army of 24, 2014 college football playoff, 24 SEC, 24 Big 10, 24 Big 12. That's not the Army of 24. Well, I get what you're saying. Look, the Army of 24 is our best shot. It's our best shot. It's our best shot to keep us all together. I love the 2014 playoffs with the 8 Qs. I love it because I love college football. I think there's a lot of reasons why I love it. A lot of reasons why I love it. I've been through it over and over and over again. We'll get back to it at the back half of the monologue. But one of the biggest reasons, I think it's going to keep us together. So I don't know if it's going to happen because there's chaos everywhere else. There's chaos everywhere else. I don't know if you can have a 2014 playoff if everybody's going in their silo. I think it can happen, but I think the SEC is going to say, we need a bunch of AQs on that model. We'll get back to it later. Thank you, Joshino. Thank you. You are hereby knighted. Cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. If I can find my, what's going on here? What is going on? There we go. Thank you, Joshino. I do appreciate it. We've got the incredible, edible Bill G. Oklahoma State Cowboy. 5 gifted memberships to Mountaineer Memes, Dave B., Rod Ross, Secure Cawthor, and Kenneth Wayne. all received a gift membership by the incredible generosity of Bill G. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Bill G. Please say thank you to Bill G. He has been doing this for a very long time. So generous to the family members here at Peek Around the Corner. Thank you, Bill G. All of you are knighted, cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. When you get an opportunity, check out our library of episodes. Watch all the episodes, including the members-only episodes, now that you're all members because of the generosity of Bill G. But you can watch episode 485. We dropped 485 today. If you haven't watched it, talking about the Big 12 might have made some gains in the portal. An article coming out of Lubbock, Texas. Go check it out. If you haven't, go check it out. Man, this this is OPD done. For those listening, I know there's a lot of people listening that are not watching the program. You don't see what is written on the screen. I'm going to read it for you. OPD done. I do declare that I have no idea what is going on, but I do declare the LSU and Ole Miss game draws 12 million viewers. Wow. But that's going to get a valuation of a 4 or a 5. Because that's going to be difficult. But I understand what he's saying. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. Wow, thank you so much for the generosity, OPD Don. Thank you so very much. But that's going to get a higher valuation because I think that's going to be tough. But there's potential there. Opie's already gambling. Opie's already throwing the dice. Opie's already saying, I'm going to be the I Do Declare PATC champion. Thank you, OPD Dunn. Wow. Fighting Illini. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Woo! Okay, Illini Ted, look. Illini Ted might be hitting the sauce a little bit. Illini Ted right now is the favorite to come in last in the I Do Declare contest. I do declare, Illini Ted, that the Illini will take advantage of their second year of a favorable schedule and this time make the CFP. Well, I'm going to give that a 4 or a 5. I'll probably give it a 4. I got to leave room for the really outlandish statements. Illini, they might make the playoffs. Should I give it a 3? Now, this is going to take a little time to figure out these valuations. And I can change them. I cannot change them once the first game is started on week 0. I can make adjustments. Tomorrow, Illini Ted will see what valuation I put on this one. I'll probably begin with a 4. Probably. Man, these are very. Again, we do not know what to expect from the PATC Einsteins. I think your craziness is going to start to come out. Illini Ted, thank you for the $5 holler. Thank you for your contribution to what we're doing here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. And now this is going to be a lot more work for me, obviously. more time spending typing all this stuff out, making sure I got it all right. But I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think you guys are going to be invested in your crazy comments, more invested in your crazy comments. I hope you understand that we have to put some restrictions on it. It can't be just a really easy comment that you're going to make a point on. There has to be some boldness to it, some risk. And number two, it does have to come in form of a super chat. Because I got to be able to gather all these comments. It's easy because all the super chats get gathered in a different column here, and I can easily figure that out. And then the money is going to a Special Olympics in Minnesota. And once I produce that check sometime before, whatever, I will show that to you, whatever I need to do. Alani Ted, go big or go home. Go big or go home. Mountaineer Memes, thanks for Bill. You're the man, Bill G. Absolutely. Thank you, Bill G. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on here. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. All right. So we've introduced the I Do Declare. I'm going to have to do that in the next few live shows because a lot of people are going to be confused on what the heck is going on here at Peek Around the Corner. We did the week 0 information, and now let's get to the Kentucky Wildcats. The Kentucky Wildcats, yes, yes, yes. Spotlight Series. College football's Peek Around the Corner. The Kentucky Wildcats, again, I really don't have them doing anything really this year. I've got them coming in dead last in the Southeastern Conference. It's not because of the head coach and it's not because of the quarterback. It's because they're starting all over. The Wildcats are starting all over. Mississippi State is not. Arkansas is. But Kentucky, again, I do love their quarterback. I have not, I've not hidden my love of Kenny Minchie. Yeah, he's barely played in 3 years. 212 passing yards, 79% completion, 140 quarterback rating. He's played a few games for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, but he was excellent in the last 2 spring camps, August camp for Notre Dame. He almost won the job at Notre Dame over C.J. Carr. It was a 50-50 for Marcus Freeman. This guy can play football. I've seen it in the very short time that he's played. I've watched him. He's an athlete. He can throw the football. He almost became the Nebraska Cornhuskers quarterback. Nebraska offered him a lot of money. He committed. He did not sign. And then came Will Stein, the former quarterback of the Louisville Cardinals. Will Stein, the former offensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks. Kenny Minchie said, who should I play for? Will Stein. Will Stein, who's got a lot of credibility on the offensive side of the football. Kenny Minchie, the Kentucky Wildcats' new quarterback. I think that's a very bright spot. It's not just about this season, it's about next season. Give Kenny Minchie an opportunity to play this year, first full year as a starting quarterback. Next year, Kenny Minchie is going to cause problems for the SEC. Yes, they are. Don Scruggs. Yes, they are. Christopher Hooter. Yes, they are. OBD Dunn. Kentucky Wildcats might cause some problems in 2027. Now, Kenny Minchie's going to need some help. Well, they got a running back, C.J. Baxter. Again, I do not have him under the spotlight. He's going to be their leading running back this year. He's not playing in the spring game. Had a very good 2023 for Texas. Wide receiver Nick Anderson. A lot of you LSU Tigers know that Nick Anderson played a little bit for LSU. Had one decent year for Oklahoma before he transferred to LSU. Nick Anderson caught some 38 football catches in 1 year. But the main guy that I want to put under the spotlight is this man, DJ Miller. Last year as a true freshman, 13 receptions, 175 yards receiving, 13.5 average, 2 receiving touchdowns. And the Kentucky Wildcats, anybody you know that's a Kentucky Wildcat fan, DJ Miller lit it up in spring camp. Absolutely lit it up. DJ Miller is the guy that we want to put on the spotlight. Minchie to Miller. Minchie to Miller. And then, who's going to protect Kenny Minchie while Minchie is throwing the ball to Miller, handing it off to C.J. Baxter? How about Lance Hurd? He's played a lot of football. He had 12 games as an LSU Tiger, and he's played 24 games with the Tennessee Volunteers. A career of 36 games played. Lance Hurd is going to be the protector of Kenny Minchie, most likely going to be the starter at left tackle. Very good pickup for the Wildcats. Very good pickup for the Wildcats. In my opinion. Now, what about Elijah Barnes? What about the defense of Kentucky? You know, we've got an offensive, a former quarterback and offensive coordinator as the head coach of Kentucky, Will Stein. They went from Stoops to Stein, right? They're going to make their bread. It's going to be an offensive type of football for Kentucky Wildcats. But they got to get some help on defense. One of the reasons why I have Kentucky in dead last going for the 2026 season is because there's so many question marks on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Will Stein, offensive mind, could not really attract the defensive players that were in the portal as much as he could on the offensive side of the football. But Elijah Barnes, hold on a second here. Freshman last year, the Texas Longhorns, he played 4 games, 4 solo tackles, and he's expected to be an impact player right off the bat for Kentucky. He was a big-time high school recruit for Texas. They battled against Michigan and Alabama for Elijah Barnes. But Elijah Barnes wants to play right now, and he's going to get that opportunity for the Kentucky Wildcats. This is the type of player that Will Stein was able to get in the portal, and they need to produce right away for the Kentucky Wildcats. Jordan Castell. Now, he's played a lot of football for the Florida Gators. 3 seasons worth at Florida. 87 solo tackles, 3 interceptions. And the Kentucky Wildcats, once again, a type of player that Will Stein could get in the portal. Jordan Castell, Elijah Barnes, these are the guys that are going to have to produce right away for Kentucky because they're starting over on defense. Look at the Kentucky football Wildcats football schedule. Youngstown State, Alabama on September 12th at home. Second game of the season at home against Alabama. Then they go on the road to Texas A&M. I mean, Kentucky doesn't even get a... They don't even get a... They have to start right off the bat. And I think that's going to hurt them. South Carolina, home against LSU, at Oklahoma, home against Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, at home against Florida, at Mizzou, and of course the rival game against Louisville. The Kentucky Wildcats, again, as I showed you earlier, I got them finishing 16th place out of 16 teams, but I do like Kenny Minchey a lot. He's going to get beat up this year. Hopefully Lance Hurd can protect him. Hopefully young guys, receivers like DJ Miller emerge. But Kenny Minchey, I think, is going to be a star. It's going to take a while. Will Stein, Minchey, Miller, CJ Baxter, Nick Anderson coming in at wide receiver. But even with all that, I've got the Kentucky Wildcats coming in last place. So we'll see what happens. Put down your comments in the comments section. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. This is your spotlight on the Kentucky Wildcats as we continue our spotlight series during the off season. In tomorrow's live show, what team are we going to spotlight? You're going to have to find out. You're going to have to watch the show. It could be your team. It could be your team that I put under the hot spotlight. Is your team going to melt if I put them under the spotlight? The PATC spotlight? Is your team going to melt? Probably. Probably, if you are not the beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. All right, so that is your Kentucky Wildcats spotlight. All right, now, big story of the day. Big story of the day. More talk, more discussions. More discussions in and around the college football playoffs of 24. Playoffs of 24 teams. Ben Portnoy, Sports Business Journal, Fox Sports CEO, and this is not the first time he has talked about playoffs being 24 teams. Hopefully it ain't the last time he talks about it. Fox Sports CEO Eric Shanks touched on the 24-team CFP pitch from Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti yesterday at the SBJ's World Congress of Sports. Shanks, Fox Sports CEO, is in favor of 24 teams, though obviously Fox would likely benefit from the new CFP inventory in the market. Full answer. Well, they probably would. They would have to bid on it. Remember, if we went from 12 teams to 24, we're going from 11 games to 23 games. And ESPN is only guaranteed 2 more playoff games in that scenario. So ESPN would be guaranteed to have 13 games, distributing 13 playoff games, and that means there's 10 games out there to bid on. 10 of them. It's not going to be just Fox Sports bidding on those games. It's going to be Amazon. It could be Netflix. It could be CBS, Paramount Plus Global. It could be NBC. Who knows? And this is Mr. Shank, Fox Sports CEO. This is what he said. I think 24 solves an enormous amount of problems. You've had people in the SEC come out and say that their champ game has run its course. There's a theory that the championship games, have run their course. You can create A, more valuable games that schools need, but B, one of the big knocks against college football is in the first 3 weeks. It's actually hard to find great games. Again, Shanks, Fox Sports. If you don't get penalized for playing those big non-conference games early, and there's a bigger pool of teams that can get into the 2014 playoff, the schedule gets better in September because you won't be penalized for playing great games. And then in November, you have more meaningful games because a lot more teams are in play to be able to get in. I think it's probably inevitable that it expands, and hopefully, at least from the research we've done, the best model we've seen is 24. And of course, PATC agrees. Kind of. Sort of. Again, at the beginning of this live show, I said we have to get a little greedy here. The Army of 24, we have gained some ground. We've advanced, but we got to get a little bit more greedy. It can't be just about it can't be just about 24 teams. Now, some of you are going to say, Greg, I joined the Army of 24 because the last iteration of Tony Petitti, playoff at 24, he said there don't have to be AQs. Don't have to be AQs. And so, Greg, that is when I jumped into the Army. Now you're switching it up. Guilty. I am guilty. I got you on board, and now I am switching up. I want to get greedy. The best model is not just a 2014 playoff. The best model is a 2014 playoffs with automatic qualifiers. Now I'm going to get pretty much everybody upset with me. That's what I do here. I get everybody mad at me. I think if we do go to a 2014 playoff, and if we do go to an AQ model, I think the days of the 4-4-4-4-2-6 is done. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, that's what I would want. But I got a feeling that the SEC would never, the Southeastern Conference is not going to agree to that. The Southeastern Conference might go to 24, but to have it 4-4-4-4-2, I don't think I don't, especially if they go in their own silo, I think those days are over. I think the Big 12 and the ACC not verbalizing in public their support of the 4-4-4-4-2-6 is going to go down as one of the greatest mistakes ever made, although it might not have made a difference. But this is my point. Even if you go to a playoff of 24, okay, if it's 23 plus 1, if you're just going to take the best 24 teams or the best 23 teams plus a G6, a guaranteed G6 representative, it doesn't really help too much on creating more value in those non-conference games. The playoffs should give more value to the regular season. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive. I know you're saying, great. You're sitting here going 2014 playoff and you're concerned about the value of the regular season. Yes. The 12-team playoffs made the regular season more valuable. I think the 2014 playoff doesn't hit the laws of the diminishing return quite yet. I think the 2014 playoff brings more value to the regular season. But what really brings more value to the entire regular season, to all 12 weeks, is to have AQs. To have conference races determine some spots in the playoffs, but yet have the non-conference games have an impact on who gets the at-large spots. If you have AQs and then you have 6 at-large spots, that means you have 2 bites of the apple playoff format. You will schedule bigger and better games non-conference. Because if you win those games, that's going to help you gain an at-large spot, even if you quite don't make it in the AQ column in your conference standings. But if you lose those non-conference games against a big-time opponent, it doesn't hurt you in gaining a spot in the playoffs when it comes to the AQs in your conference. 2 bites of the apple. If you want to create more value in the non-conference games, non-conference scheduling, more value in your conference games, more teams being involved in a potential playoff spot later in the season in your conference games, 2014 playoff with an AQ model. Now that we got the momentum going, for 2014 playoff, insert the AQ model in there, and I think it's going to be fantastic. And remember, just because let's say the Big 12 has 3 AQs. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be 5 Big 12 teams that don't make the playoffs. It's not a cap. The AQ number is not a cap on teams in that conference. But I just happen to think now we have missed the window of time, unfortunately. I think we've missed it. I would be shocked. I would be happy. I would be ecstatic, but I would be absolutely shocked if ever a 4-4-4-4-2-6 can now get the Southeastern Conference support. They're going from 8 conference games to 9 conference games. They're going from 8 conference games to 9 conference games. The Southeastern Conference believes they've been screwed by the committee because they're not taking in this incredible hard schedule that every SEC team goes through. So if we're going to go to 24 teams, and if we want to create the most drama, the most value in the non-conference conference schedule, it's got to be an AQ model, and the Southeastern Conference is going to get more than 4 AQs to be able to get this passed. If you don't like that idea, then we'll go back to the 2014 playoff. But again, it's not really going to help that much in the non-conference scheduling because people are still going to be afraid to play a big-time opponent in the non-conference schedule. All right, so that's my take on it. Let me hear your take on it. Helmer Hennison, Super Chat. Thank you so very much. Would there be a playoff with silos? Well, again, it all depends on on how extreme the silo gets, right? This breakaway that might happen, there is a certain spectrum of Is it a little bit conservative breakaway, or is it crazy, extreme, bonkers breakaway silo? The very extreme part of it is we go to our silos, we have conference governance, we play each other, we only play each other, and we are in the regular season, and we only play each other in a playoff. That's really extreme. And I don't think we're going to jump from what we've got now to that extreme silo. I hope we don't. I pray we don't. I don't think we will. I'm hoping there's a way, if everybody goes in the silo, and it sure is looking like that's going to happen, because the Score Act doesn't look like it's going to pass right now. If we go into our silos, hopefully we find a way to be able to govern ourselves, but yet have enough trust to have a playoff amongst all of us and to have a 2014 playoffs. But maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe the trust is going to collapse. Maybe the SEC is going to say, nah, we're not doing that. We're not going to govern ourselves, have our own rules, and we don't trust anybody else. We're not going to play with them. That very well could happen. But until that happens, Hammer Henderson, until that happens, the Army of 24, the dream lives on. The dream lives on. I think the playoff of 24 is the best way to keep us all together. But some of us are not interested in keeping us all together. Go Black 45, Army of 48 breakaway. Army of 48 breakaway. And Go Black 45 is not the only one who is rooting for that. D5 Terps, 2014 playoff equals conference expansion equals death of ACC, Notre Dame, Big Ten. Is that a fear out there if you go to 24? Now, if you go to 24, D5 Terps, if you go to 24, and if you have an AQ model of 5533, 6633, 1, what, 2 or 3, whatever the number is, I don't know. I do think the days of the 444426 are now over. Are now over. The Big Lubbock is in the house. Thank you, Hammer Henderson. Thank you for the $2 holler. Hammer Henderson, another super chat. Big Ten, SEC, etc. could each have their own playoffs. I guess. I hope they don't do that. I'm not for that, but that could happen, Hammer Henderson. That's the extreme case. I don't think we're going to jump right into that. I really don't. I really don't. But yeah, that's a possibility. Hammer Henderson, that's a possibility. Thank you for the $2 holler. Thank you so very much. We're going to get to phone calls here. We're going to open up the phone lines. I do want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Evil Badger, Joshino, Bill G, OPD Dunn, Alani Ted, Hammer Henderson, for your generosity. And again, for those who just join us, we have begun the I Do Declare. I do declare. You can put out a prediction in the comments section in form of a super chat. And the money, the proceeds are going to go to the Special Olympics of Minnesota during the off season. And it ends right before kickoff of the first game in week 0. You can declare, you start your super chat by saying, I do declare, and then make your prediction. And then I'm going to give it a valuation of 1 through 5. 1 being most likely to occur, 5 least likely to occur. If you get it right, you get the points. If you don't get it right, you get minus those points. I'm going to be keeping tracking of all the I do declare statements during the season. In every live show, I'm going to give you an update of who said what and the valuation points that I gave it. And then during the season, we're going to keep track of who's getting what right, who's getting what wrong. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've already had some very creative I do declare statements coming out today, first day on April 16th. I mean, look at this one. OBD done. I do declare that the LSU Ole Miss game draws 12 million viewers. That is a very creative I do declare. And that's going to get a 4-point valuation or 5-point valuation. Illini Ted. I do declare the Illini would take advantage of their second year of a favorable schedule and this time make the CFP. And then Eva Badger, the Badgers will win the Axe back this season. And then Eva Badger is going to be -2 on that. To be honest with the Eva Badger, ooh, we've got a super chat here. Hammer Hennison. Does Florida win the Natty in the next 5 years? I'm going to go ahead and bet against it. But I would bet on the fact that they win the SEC in the next 5 years. How about them apples? How about that? I think they're going to be very good this year. It's hard to say somebody's going to win the Natty in the next 5 years unless you're the Buckeyes or Georgia. I mean, you know, it's a huge mountain to climb. But the Florida Gators, I think, are going to be very, very impressive this year. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. I think they're going to be one of the big surprises this year. Let me know if you think I got it wrong. Al Bundy, LSU in Texas will have 12 million viewers. Al Bundy, how about the NFL have jurisdiction over the division of the SEC and the Big Ten into various leagues? Everyone hit the like button. Thank you, Kane. Appreciate it. Arkansas Razorback Nick Kelsel. Greg, hypothetically, what would the Notre Dame to SEC look like? Football plus some Olympic sports in the SEC, then others in the Big East and hockey in the Big Ten. Would Notre Dame be able to leave with no exit fee in SEC? Whatever Notre Dame decides to do, I think they're going to park all their other sponsored sports, either keep it in the ACC or put it everywhere, all of them in the Big East or the SEC or the Big Ten. I don't think they're going to split them up any more than look, Notre Dame's Big Ten hockey program, I don't think they're leaving the Big Ten anytime soon. Other than that, all the other sports are going to be somewhere else. I don't think they're going to split it up between Big Ten and Big East, SEC and Big Ten, SEC and Big East. If I had to make a prediction, and I have already, I would say all of them go to the Big Ten eventually. BYU football's in the house. Thank you for coming on in, BYU football. I appreciate it. Phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Thank you, everybody, for coming on in today on a Thursday evening, April 16th. Checking the news.
From
Studzilla, thanks for calling. The floor is yours.
So one of the comments talking about Notre Dame got me thinking. I know that there's hundreds of possibilities out there, endless, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
If Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, and let's say it's part of a big scoop, because I'm guessing that's probably the only way this would happen, they come with Stanford. What would happen to Cal? Would they stay in the ACC? Would they try to go to the Big 12, you think? Or I just can't imagine them staying in the ACC as the lone West Coast team.
If I had to make a crazy prediction, and that's all that would be, probably go back to the Pac-12. I don't know. I think at some point, Studzilla, if the SEC and the Big Ten expands, and I think they will, I think at some point there's going to be enough. There's a certain economics of consolidation that has been happening, and I think it has helped led SEC to expand with Texas and Oklahoma. It's led the Big Ten to expansion. It's led the Big 12 to win that battle over the Pac-12. And I think that economics of consolidation is going to lead to a reality of where there's going to be a third conference that's going to emerge, that doesn't exist today. So if that's the Big 12 eating more of the ACC, if that's the ACC eating the Big 12, or more likely some sort of best of the rest in those two conferences, that economics of consolidations, I think, is going to form some sort of merger with a bunch of schools that may not have any history among themselves, but it's going to be best for them, and it's going to be best for the media companies that want more inventory. And I think that might be what happens. What do you think?
I actually agree. I've been thinking about that for a while. It just makes the most sense to me because I can't imagine the Big 12 just adding the best of the ACC, because I just feel like it would be too bloated. And I feel like the best move for them would, like you said, is to take the best of the Big 12 and the ACC. Like all those former Pac-12 schools, the best Big 12 schools, the best ACC schools, and do their own thing. And it would definitely be better than probably most other options available to them.
Yeah.
Are you doing a watch party this weekend for the spring game for Ohio State? Is it going to be airing?
I do not know. I'm going to have to check the Little General schedule. If I can do it, I will. Because my spring watch parties I watch the game, but we're talking about other things in football as well. But right. I do watch spring football games. There's a lot less on this year. A lot of SEC games are not on for whatever reason. They're not covering them. So yeah, if I can do it, I will. No question.
And then one last thing. Do you know, I feel like it's got to be coming up soon, when like the Big 10 and SEC and Big 12, where I guess it's the TV partners, will be announcing the I know we know a few of the games, like where they're airing and times, but like I remember last year there was the marquee games got announced in advance. Maybe that was in May when the networks do their upfronts. I don't know.
I do think it's
when
May.
That's...
I do think it's May.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Like the Big Ten, they've got some decisions to make on Friday night games, right? There's a couple of Friday night games that they haven't they haven't declared yet. So they're going to be moving some stuff around, and that's got to get done no later than May because the fans want to know, right? Scheduling, travel.
Right.
But there's a couple of Friday night slots that are still open that the Big 12 knows all their Friday games, but the Big 10 doesn't. So I forget that I covered that. I don't know if I have my notes here. The Big 10, there is a couple of, I think October 2nd, I believe, is Penn State at Northwestern. No, whatever date that is, that's slotted in. Rutgers is slotted into a Friday game. But there's a couple slots open, and I think we're going to find more about that later. And then the other games, primetime games, right? Saturday night games that they know they're going to do, that's going to be announced pretty soon as well, I think. I don't know when, though.
And then one last thing, because I could have swore I heard Joel Klatt say this on his show last year when discussing how the networks choose the Big Ten games. I'll have to go back and watch that video again because I don't feel like I've seen this information anywhere else. Have you ever heard that the deal involves like a rotating of the picks, like where 1 year NBC gets the first pick and 1 year CBS gets the first pick, but most years Fox gets the first pick and most years Fox gets most of the first picks? Or am I just like have you heard anything about that? Like I can't remember if I'm like making that up. I swear he said that though.
I used to poke and prod on that question constantly because what I wanted to do is I wanted to know, I wanted to have like I wanted to try to predict who was going, what game was going where, what week and all that. But we could never get an answer. I don't think the answer is available. I think that is one of those trade secrets that they keep.
Right.
They don't give that up. And I've given up trying to get it. So, yeah, that's all I can say.
All right. Well, have a good one, and thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, sir. Studzilla.
Yep.
Beautiful.
See.
There is certain information that the media companies leak quite easily. But when it comes to the trade secrets, they don't leak them. So we really do not have an answer to that question. I think the days of the 4-4-4-4-2-6 are over. I would vote for that. I would support that. But I don't think politically that can... I think the Southeastern Conference would say, you crazy? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I think they're going to do it that Friday night. I think that's the first Northwestern. I might be wrong, but I think it's Northwestern Penn State on a Friday night. I think that's when it's happening.
From
Rick, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. Didn't you say you're going to write down something and check on it a couple of shows ago? I want to say it was what the distribution would be if Miami and a couple of schools left early, how they would handle the money that... Does that ring a bell?
Not really. You mean that the 75 million? If there was a, I don't know what you mean.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, okay, so I have checked on the question of if schools leave the ACC and they write the conference a big old check, be it 75 million, be it 147 million, be it 129 million, whatever year they decide to file the notice of withdrawal and they leave the conference, how would that money be distributed to the other schools in the ACC? And nobody has an answer to that question. I have not been able to find an answer to that question because I think that's very important. But I cannot get an answer to that question. Nobody has talked about it in public. I've asked in private. They don't know. Nobody's given that information up. Is that the one you're talking about?
It is.
Okay.
And I ask because it's really kind of important if they're considering forming a new ACC.
I think it's, well, if they form a one sport football conference, and let's say there's 8 teams that do it, 8 ACC teams, that's 8 times 75. So what is that? 600 million? I have no idea. Whatever the amount of money is, and how that money gets distributed to the other 11 ACC, 9 ACC teams. I don't know if all that is a lump sum, gets put out yearly. I have no idea. I wish I had that answer, but I don't know, because I think that answer to that question would give us an insight on a lot of different things, possibilities.
But forming a new ACC, I don't know, for lack of a better name, we'll call it the new ACC.
Mm-hmm.
They form the new ACC. There's no obligation to take the non-revenue sports from the football teams that are leaving.
Okay. Okay. The settlement does have in the settlement between Florida State and Clemson with the ACC that if they do this, Florida State and Clemson and whoever left would be allowed to keep their non-revenue, their other sponsored sports in the ACC, and the ACC would have to keep them, would have to accept them.
Well, that's fine as long as they had the old ACC. But if they dissolve and create the new ACC, there's no obligation to take them.
I don't think the settlement is talking about to dissolve it. Okay, you're talking two different things. I'm not talking to the ACC dissolving. I'm talking about 8 teams leaving 8, 6, 10 schools leaving the football out of the conference and having a one sport football conference. Those schools are not allowed to leave the conference, and it would only cost them $75 million if they're taking all their sports out of it. It only costs them $75 million right now if they're only taking their football out and having a one sport conference.
Okay, I guess I'm talking about something totally different. Maybe with a new name.
Okay, you're talking about teams just leaving a reimagined ACC that takes all their sports out, and it's gonna cost more than $75 million unless they do it in 2030-31. Then it's gonna cost $75 million. If they do it now, it's gonna cost $147 million a school.
I mean, I don't see Miami going to the Big Ten and leaving their other programs in the ACC.
They would not be able to. They would not be able to do that. That's two different things.
That's right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. If Miami joined the Big Ten, all their sports would go to the Big Ten and would cost Miami whatever money that is on the sliding scale, depending on what year they do it. But leaving the conference, I still don't quite understand what you're asking. Sorry, I don't.
Well, it just seems like you're giving two different examples. One where the football team leaves,
Yes.
and the rest are left behind, and the other example where all of the sports go.
Because there is two scenarios.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. So we
Yeah.
agree there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And my question was regarding when the football team goes and all of the other sports are left behind.
Okay. How would that money be distributed to the other ACC schools? I don't know.
No, that's not the question. The
Okay.
question is, if that occurs, if Miami, whomever, leaves and goes to another conference and leaves behind their non-revenue sports, what?
Okay, stop. Time out. There is not a scenario, in my belief, that schools are going to leave the ACC and join another conference and keep their other schools in the ACC. The option that Miami and Florida State and North Carolina have is if they take their football program out and leave the other sponsored sports in the ACC, that will cost them $75 million, and they form that one sport conference. They're not going to be able to jump to the Big Ten. Those are two different scenarios. So there is no jumping to the Big Ten and leaving the other sponsored sports in the ACC. You jump to the Big Ten, everything's got to go with you. The option of not having everything go with you, that is the one sport conference that they can do per the settlement. You can have six ACC teams form a one sport conference, and you are allowed in that scenario to keep your other sponsored sport teams in the ACC.
The one sport being football.
Yep.
I don't see that happening.
It probably won't be, but it's in the settlement. They have that option.
Okay, well, at least I understand now.
All right, sir.
Call from
Fred.
Fred, thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Hey, hi, Greg. If they go to everybody starting at week 0 and the last game of the regular season is Saturday after Thanksgiving,
Yes.
is there any chance they could have a discussion about starting the playoffs the very next week?
I'm hoping that's the next discussion.
We got to shorten the season. We can't go into what was it? Almost February. Anyways, I hope they do that too, and then that'll solve the issue about people having such a long layoff. You know, people are interested in getting started right after the season's over.
Yep.
We don't need that time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the other thing I was wondering, I had heard someone talk about it today. You know, they're discussing the 5-year eligibility, just, doing away with all the red shirts and everything and just 5 years.
Yep.
Okay, if they agree to do that, I assume it'll maybe challenge in court. But if they do that, then for that 1 year, people who were planning on their eligibility being up after 4 years because they didn't take a red shirt will now have the option of doing a 5th year.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I can see a lot of teams, the way things are going right now, with the emphasis on getting experienced players who have a lot of game experience, for that one more season.
Yes.
They would love that opportunity to have that offensive lineman another year.
Yes. If they do the 5-year, play 5 years for 5 years, and they have to grandfather that in, most likely, there's a lot of guys who are going to take advantage of that. I'm going to play another year. Why not? I'm not going to be able to make it in the NFL, or maybe I will, but if I play a 5th year, I'm going to get paid some really good NIL money. The team's going to want to keep me. It's going to be a really good time to be an experienced college football player who's only been at the school who's only played for 4 years, and now they're going to get a 5th year.
Yeah, that would be great. A great opportunity for those people.
Oh yeah, not just football, but volleyball and basketball and
basketball.
Yep. Not good news for the high school players, though.
No. But I'll tell you the other thing working for the high school players is if you're a really good player, the emphasis in the last year or two has been on we got to play these young kids a lot quicker, or they're going to go to some other team.
Yeah.
So there'll be that dynamic at both ends.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe the guys in the middle who are going to suffer.
Yep. You are correct.
One other question. Okay, let's say they go to 24. Okay, and as you say, the 4-4-4-4 is no longer valid because the SEC very clearly, won't support an equal number.
I don't think they will. Yep.
Okay, how long do you think the negotiation will have to take to arrive at what the number is?
I don't know.
Are you going to go sit?
It most likely probably going to be no 8 Qs. But I just brought up that point because I think the 8 Qs would make more game. I think it would help the non-conference scheduling more than just 23+1 model. But maybe I shouldn't be greedy. Get the 2014 playoff in here. No 8 Qs, and then I'll start getting greedy on that point.
There you go. As long as you guarantee that. As you were talking about it today, I was thinking, well, maybe it won't help make the early schedule tougher because they'll still avoid those teams.
Yeah.
But if you go to 24 and you've got 4 or 5 games, you're still going to have a stronger group of teams you're playing over the year because you're going to be playing all those playoff games if you win.
Yeah.
And so we are going to get some other, some really good games that under a 4-team or a 12-team you wouldn't get because, look at last year. You had 12 teams and you had 2 of them were a group of 6 teams, and there were several games that you would say, that's like the early season for some schools now. That's not very good.
Yeah.
So I think if you go to 24, you're going to get more quality games, but it's not going to help you at the beginning of the year because they're still going to avoid them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well,
good point,
that's
Fred.
what I was thinking of as you were talking today. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Call again, sir. Love it. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Beautiful call. Man, we got a lot of great callers at Peek Around the Corner. I just got to clarify something. Thank you, Fred. Just got to clarify something. Ralph Russo, my colleague Seth Emerson and I wrote about this one a few weeks ago. What's important to remember is this doesn't move up the end of the season. It would just move up the start and ensure at least 2 open dates. And he's correct. I just think maybe it's going to help push the next conversation in that the playoffs are going to start earlier. But he is correct. Russo and Emerson is correct in the fact that, look, the end of the regular season has been that Saturday after Thanksgiving. Now, this makes it more official. That's good. You're moving up the start of the season. But basically, all this is ensuring that is there's going to be 2 weeks of byes instead of maybe some seasons only having one bye week. That's what moving up the schedule does, moving up from week 1 to week 0. Now, they can readjust it again and say the college football season, the regular season ends before that Thanksgiving, Saturday before Thanksgiving. Now you've got more room to work with when it comes to starting the playoff earlier. But that's not what this is right now. This is the end of the season, ends on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we're not quite where I would want us to go to. But again, more movement in the college football calendar. I like it. I think we need more of it. I want the playoffs to start earlier. I want the championship games to get played earlier, as soon as around January 1st as possible. But that's what I want. Let me know what you all want. Let me do one more Studzilla, I missed the start. Does the I do declare have to occur this season? Yes. Great question. Yes, it has to happen during the season because the championship game, after the championship game, we declare the I do declare world champion. Now, if you need the rules on it, go to our X account at Flug Empire. I put out about 4 different comments on it, and go check it out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've had a couple of I do declare comments coming in already today. Pretty interesting one. One that I didn't even think about. OBD Dunn. My goodness. OBD Dunn. I do declare that I have no idea what's going on, but I do declare the LSU and Ole Miss game draws 12 million. At least 12 million. Again, if you missed it, go back to the start of the program. We are beginning an I do declare statements coming from the PATC Einsteins. I'm going to give an evaluation of them, coming in the form of a super chat. The money that gets collected in these particular super chats are going to go to the Special Olympics in Minnesota. I do declare. We'll give you an evaluation of 1 through 5. If you get the declaration correct, you're going to get the points. If you get it wrong, you get deducted those same amount of points. Every week, we're going to do we'll track the standings. We'll track how y'all are doing. During the off season, we're going to track of what you said. Like tomorrow, during the live show, it's going to say OBD done, valuation of 4 points, LSU Ole Miss, game draws 12 plus million viewers. Illini Ted, valuation of like 3 points. I do declare Illini, the Fighting Illini, will make it to the college football playoffs. You're going to see their names, their declaration on tomorrow's live show. So this is a time, trying to get the PATC Einsteins to be able to come out and make your declarations known, and they gain from it or be reduced points from it. We'll have a standings, we'll have a champion at the end of the season. Buckeye Greg, I do declare the Buckeyes will win the national championship. Again, it has to come in the form of a super chat, and then I'll give you evaluation point of it. And declaring the Buckeyes will win the national championship will probably give you a evaluation of 2 points. 2 points. 1 or 2 points. I'll figure it out later. But thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today. I do appreciate it. I've already thanked the people with their incredible generosity, helping us keep the lights on. Bill G, the incredible Bill G, and the rest of you. I appreciate it. Great phone calls tonight. Again, we did the Kentucky Wildcats Spotlight. Kenny Minchie, the quarterback. I do love Kenny Minchie. I think he's going to have a pretty good year. I think he's going to struggle some. DJ Miller, the young wide receiver. Of course, they got Nick Anderson, transfer from LSU. Before that, Oklahoma. Lance Hurd, the offensive tackle, transferring from Tennessee. Elijah Barnes, the transfer from Texas. Jordan Castell, the transfer from Florida. They're relying on transfers to try to boost that defense at Kentucky. But offensively, C.J. Baxter, the transfer from Texas. Kenny Minchie, the transfer from Notre Dame. I got the Wildcats finishing dead last in the Southeastern Conference. But we're going to be watching them. We're going to be keeping an eye on the Wildcats. In tomorrow's live show, another team goes under the spotlight. And, of course, we will cover all the breaking news in college football. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. And as always, God, family, Golden Gophers.